Hey guys, this video is long overdue. Many of you have asked me to do it over the years. So I'm gonna explain my live looping setup and hopefully give you some useful tips in the process. Let's start with microphones. So first scenario is that you're gonna do this live looping in the studio or at home, where you don't have a very loud PA that feeds the audio back to you. So in that case, just a regular A and B piano stereo miking technique on the piano works well. I'm utilizing two condensers here. They are the bad memory. I have bad memory. They are the Rode NT5s. They are not my favorite kind of microphones for this purpose. However, I'm touring and they are portable and compact and easy to transport. On the first video I posted, the Blue Sun live looping video, which you can see right here, I was using two microphones that I love. I will post the name and a link to where you can find them in the description of the video. Now, second scenario is that you're gonna do this live looping in a live setting, say at a show or at a concert. So for that, I highly recommend to use a contact mic instead. I tried many different solutions, many different combination of things, but the truth is that live looping introduces by nature a lot of feedback opportunities, and so unless you have a microphone that's extremely good at rejecting the feedback, you're gonna have a lot of sound issues. So I'm using this small guy for as far as contact mic goes. It's just a simple piezo microphone. Now this contact mic I tape straight to the soundboard through a sound hole like that. I tape it right there. As long as you use a tape, that's not too strong and it's not gonna ruin the wood of the piano, of course. Now, obviously, the kind of sound you get from a small contact mic, it's not. First of all, it's mono, and quality-wise, it's not gonna be the same detail and the same depth as a good stereo image from two condenser microphones. Just keep that in mind. Of course, it's a compromise. It might be worth mentioning now that my live looping setup, it's computer based. I'm not using a looping pedal such as the Boss or any of those. Now, while I think you could get away with using a pedal and it certainly would be more portable and quicker to set up, um, I'm sure it wouldn't allow you the same amount of flexibility that a digital computer rig allows you to have. And I'll explain that better in a sec when we get to the software part of things. Now let's talk a little about the computer side of things. The two microphones get routed to the two inputs on my audio interface. Now, to be honest, in terms of live looping, the choice of what interface to use, it's not a very critical one. Just as long as these two inputs are fairly clean sounding, professional level, as to avoid a lot of floor noise. That's never good when you loop because it sums up every time you go through the loop, so you wanna definitely avoid that. My interface is an iConnectivity. The model is iConnect Audio 4 Plus. I'll link again the name and the website in the description of the video. Now for my audio needs, I'm a Mac guy, and my audio interface is connected to my Mac Mini that sits right there. You don't need a huge ton of computer power for live looping, but still you want a machine that's powerful enough to be reliable. So just keep that in mind if you're selecting a machine for the specific purpose of live looping. So next up is the software side of things. What you see here is a Mainstage. Of course, it's a custom layout that I made that suits my needs. It's the same the same setup I use when I play with my trio, the PLS trio. That's why you can see the logo there. Here is where the flexibility I was talking about really starts kicking in, because again, you can make your own layout setup being a software, and you can adapt it to anything you want to do. So I'm not gonna go in depth into the inner workings of Mainstage right now for the sake of time. That would take 2 videos of their own, which I might do at some point. But the whole idea is that I create an interface that allows me to control looping. So what I did here, I created a multiply button, a reverse button, a half tempo button, very important, undo and redo, and then the 3 most important ones, the record, overdub, and reset. And I'll explain those in a sec. So now you saw what my software interface looks like, but of course we need a way to control that while we play at the piano, because you don't want to be using a mouse to control your live looping setup while you're playing. That wouldn't be feasible. So these are the solutions I found, and I've tried again many different things, and I settled on these in the end. It seems to be working best for me. To control my live looping setup, I'm utilizing this switches foot controller. It's called UMI3. It's a USB MIDI foot controller. It's made by Lodigi or Lodigi, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. You can find it on Amazon. Again, I'll post the link. A few things I love about this pedal is that first it has mechanical switches, very much like a guitar pedal. So that means that I don't really have to worry while I'm focusing on playing. I don't have to worry too much about being super precise, as much as maybe I would be with a foot controller that has pads or tactile switches instead of mechanical switches, because these I can just throw my foot on and I know I hit it hard and it works. And as well, there's also mechanical feedback, which is important to me. The other thing I love is, of course, that it's small and modular, so it's easy to transport and just throw in your bag, and it's super robust as well. Now, to control all the other functions that I might need for live looping, I'm utilizing an iPad with the Touch OSC app installed. And again, the good thing about this is that it's extremely flexible, so I can create a layout that suits my needs. And for this, I kind of mimicked the layout I created on the software Mainstage, as to have the same kind of references, and so that I know where to go when I need to do a specific function. So again, we have the multiply, reverse, half tempo, undo, redo, all the other functions. Now I'm also using these to control live effects such as delay, distortion, all the good stuff that I use when I play live with my trio. So now that we have the software side set up as well as the physical controllers, all we have to do is assign those physical controllers to the software. So it's done very simply in Mainstage. You go on the Layout tab, and for example, let's assign our undo button. So I'm gonna click here, hit the assign function, and then on the physical controller, I'm gonna hit undo. That sends the signal, Mainstage recognizes it, and it assigned it. So now when I hit the physical switch, it's also affecting the software. And of course, you're gonna do that with all your functions. Now let's move to the less obvious but probably most important part of this video. And let's see what's actually going on in Mainstage that makes everything work. As you can see here, the selected channel, it's a piano left. Right next to it, it's piano right. These are 2 channels I created that take the inputs from my interface, input 1 and 2. Those are the inputs assigned to my microphones. As you can see next to that, I have a contact mic channel that has a specific EQ, when you use contact mics, you really need to EQ it a lot to make it sound the most natural possible. So I have that ready in case I'm using the contact mic option. Now these 3 channels are routed to a bus, which I call piano sum. And now, as you can see, there's a lot going on in this bass channel. There's a lot of other sends to other buses, and these are all the live effects that I use, such as distortion, reverb, delay, but I'm not gonna go into that right now. What we care about is this bus 10, because it sends my signal to the looper, and this is where it comes in. So for looping, I'm utilizing an audio component called Mobius. It's made by Circular Labs. It's completely free. It's a freeware piece of software. It's amazing. Again, it's super flexible. It allows for some very complicated scripting as well, so you really can tailor it to your needs. Now, the audio component version is the Mac version, of course, that you can use with Logic or Mainstage, but they also offer the VST option that you can use with, I don't know, whatever Windows equivalent of a software. I guess you could be using Pro Tools or simply Ableton Live. So now let's look at the Mobius interface. This is what the basic Mobius interface looks like. Now, in its simplest usage, you will only probably use track 1. Now, each track, as you can see, has different loops. So I guess this could be different sections of your looping that you can jump to and from. But again, I actually most of the time use it in its simplest form, which is just to create a loop and just overdub on top of it. Mobius doesn't come out of the box with a software instrument assignment for the host, which means until I do this step, I can't tell this button to perform the action of multiplying in Mobius. So the way you set that up is you go to configuration, and then you go to plugin parameters, because we're using the plugin version of the software. Yeah, it's worth mentioning the Mobius software does come in standalone too. So you could assign your MIDI controller straight into Mobius and avoid using Mainstage altogether. It's an option. I enjoy using Mainstage for the added flexibility of having my layout and all the other benefits that come with a professional audio software. So here you have the plugin parameters. When you first open this window, it's gonna be emptier. I did assign the ones I needed already, such as function, multiply. So what you simply do is look for the function you need, which could be, for example, multiply in this case, and then you select that, create new, and it's gonna appear here in this list. Once you've done that, you can restart, and the next time you open up Mainstage, it will recognize those commands for Mobius. Now that we created our plugin parameters, we can actually assign them to the layout we created in Mainstage. So for example, I hit the multiply button, and here I select the loop track, which is the channel track that had the Mobius plugin in it. And then you select the Mobius, and here you find multiply. That's it. That's as simple as that. So that was really pretty much the last step we needed to do. After assigning all the plugin parameters, we should be able to use our physical controllers and have the plugin perform the action we need it to. So from here on, it's just about playing. Now I'll do a quick demonstration of all the different looping functions I set up. Maybe they can work as a guideline for what you might want to do as well. Okay, so I'm gonna start recording a simple loop for this demonstration. The first thing you'll see me do is hit the record button, which I currently assign to this guy right here. this guy I assign to the overdub function, and this guy, it's reset. It just deletes everything so that I can start a new loop or stop the current loop as well. Now I'll put some overdubs on top of that, so I'll be using this. Now let's explore some of the other functions I have here. Again, I have the undo button, which is important if I want to remove layers. So let's say I want to remove the bass sound I just created. I'm gonna hit it. There it is, it's gone. Now if I want it back, I'll just press the redo. There it is. Then I had assigned a reverse function that I've used in some of my videos. So it just reverses the sound. You know, it can create. It's an easy way to move to a different section or create a new depth to what you're doing. If I hit multiply, what it does is that it will extend the loop, repeating the original loop until I tell it to stop. So if I want an A bar loop out of a 4 bars, I'll hit it once, then I'll hit it again at the end of A bars, and my loop will have extended to A bars. Here I have a volume that I assign to the loop volume. Now lastly, a cool function I like is the half tempo. It just drops everything down an octave essentially and makes it half tempo, which is kind of cool. So this is pretty much it in terms of what you need to start your looping fun. Again, I didn't go into very much depth on the software side of things. I think I will post some additional tutorials where maybe I explain all the different details that go into that. But in the meantime, if you have any question, feel free to ask. And I also do offer Skype lessons if you want to talk about things, be it the technical or the playing side of things. Hit me up and I'd be happy to help you out. I hope this was helpful. I hope it answers some of your questions, and have fun. See you next time.